Sorry, chat. I know a lot of you like this video, but people like Jimmy Kimmel are more of a threat to us than Ted Cruz is because they're stopping us from resisting him. They're tranquilizing you. They're making you think you can reason with Ted. You can't reason with Ted. I think I'm explaining myself pretty clear. I have the same exact opinion as Martin Luther King Jr. in the letter of the Birmingham Jail. I'm sorry you've never heard the idea that white moderates are a bigger problem than the right because they constantly disarm the movements of resistance. The Uvalde School District had an extensive safety plan. 19 children were killed anyway. Even security plans that appear to be up to the latest research-based standards may have gaps and fall short of preventing the worst-case scenario. Yeah, the gap is cops are cowards. You fail. You think that cops are going to defend people. That's your biggest mistake. All right, let's watch this Jimmy Kimmel video. I was told it was good, so we're going to watch it. Oh, God. 8 links I have to click to get it.
Jimmy, and I wanted to speak to you directly without an audience for just a bit before we start the show, because here we are again on another day of mourning in this country. Once again, we grieve. In 1996 in Australia, a mass shooting killed 35 people. They passed gun legislation. They haven't had one since. This is the only country where this keeps happening. Firearms are now the #1 cause of death for American children and teens. #1. Senator Ted Cruz, I will say, is stepping up to comfort the people he serves, is the NRA. Ted is scheduled to speak at an NRA event this weekend. And here's the thing. I don't believe Ted Cruz doesn't care about children. I don't. I refuse.
You fucking lib. You know, Chad, I gotta tell you, for me, this is worse than Ted Cruz. This is worse than Ted Cruz. I'm sorry. That statement he just made is worse than Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz can't win unless you beg and plead and baby him and let him keep going. The only way. He'll never change. Jimmy, you can only fight him. That's it. And win.
Refuse to believe he's unaffected by this. He's a father. I bet he went to bed sick to his stomach last night. It's easy to...
You are an absolutely deluded fucking psycho. Deluded. Deluded. The Nazis, after they had exterminated millions, killed tens of millions more in war, as they were defeated on the battlefield, they didn't turn inward and go, maybe I was wrong about all this shit. They said, it's the German people. They were not worthy of my leadership. Kill Germans now. It's only because their orders were disregarded that they didn't exterminate their own people. People like Ted Cruz sleep like a fucking baby. I bet he has a 50 beats a minute heart rate. Ted Cruz is like he's like some sort of predator, all right? If you're out on the savannah and you're being stalked by a lion, yeah, that's a pretty bad situation for you, and the lion can kill you and can eat you. That's not, you recognize that. And if necessary, you'll defend yourself, right? The worst type of person is like, lion, come here, you're beautiful, lion. They're more of a threat to you than the fucking lion is. He's more, I'm sorry, chat, I know a lot of you like this video, but people like Jimmy Kimmel are more of a threat to us than Ted Cruz is because they're stopping us from resisting him. They're tranquilizing you. They're making you think you can reason with Ted. You can't reason with Ted. He's coming at you with a fucking knife or an AR-15. You either defend yours. Anybody saying don't fight back against Ted is worse than Ted. This is batshit crazy. Ted Cruz is a monster. Human beings are monsters. And I'm sure there's all sorts of fucking reason why Ted Cruz is bad, but he's in power and he killed these fucking kids. He killed these fucking kids as surely as the shooter did. Grow up, Jimmy.
True. So here's the thing I would like to say to Ted Cruz, the human being, and Governor Abbott and everyone. It's okay to admit you made a mistake. In fact, it's not just okay, it's necessary to admit you made a mistake when your mistake is killing the children in your state.
See, this is one of the reasons why I have this channel, is because many of you, if it wasn't for people like me or other lefties that create content and create a different voice, you would probably be watching Jimmy. Back in the day, I used to watch fucking John Stewart. Still watch John Oliver, but I criticize him for the left. Jon Stewart was this. They don't have humanity. The only time in our history that the Republican Party moved left was when the Democratic Party was gigantically more popular because of the New Deal. The Republican Party had to move left to try to appeal to the Democratic Party's New Deal coalition. Go look at Eisenhower's platform. If you want Ted Cruz to come to you, you've got to be beating Republicans into the dirt, not compromising with them, not bending over backwards, not begging on your hands and knees. They will only change when they calculate they have to change to win an election. They are a robot. They are not some guy that you just have to reason with. They exist there for structural reasons. If Ted Cruz started to change his mind on the NRA, then he would be primaried and he'd be out. And some other ghoul would take his place because that's the way the machine is set up. You have to destroy the machine. Appealing to Ted is liberalism, and it will not work. I don't know why. This is one of the reasons. This is the type of shit that really gets me. This is what makes me angrier. Listen, I can handle evil. I can handle a cancer diagnosis. I can handle death. I can handle bad shit happening. I can't handle virulent stupidity. If somebody says, oh, I have cancer, I can think about, okay, what do we do? Can we get chemo, surgery? What do we need? I can grab onto that problem and try to work the problem. If somebody comes in and says, I have cancer and I want to try smoothie treatment and maybe with a side of homeopathy, that I can't understand. That will drive me insane. And that's what this is. You have a cancer in our society and your fucking solution is holding hands? How about a surgeon's scalpel? I'm glad you're saying it, Mike. Republicans are openly vile and disgusting, and dunking on them constantly is low-hanging fruit. Libs try to preach compromise or appealing to our sense of humanity, disgusting more than ours do. I mean, and once people finally get, that's what people are begging for. That's what people are begging for. Why do you think John Fetterman won by so goddamn fucking much? Because he said, I'm going to go in there and vote like a Democrat's supposed to vote. And he won progressives and he won normal Democrats. Because everybody was like, yes, thank God. Even though every Democratic establishment figure endorsed Connor Lamb. John Fetterman won the largest primary fucking victory landslide of a non-incumbent in Pennsylvania goddamn history against a serious opponent. People are desperate for a fighter, for fuck's sake. I'm sorry, I'm not desperate for teary-eyed men. I'm just not. I've seen it enough. Maybe I'm in touch with my feminine side enough. I don't need to have more teary-eyed liberals. I don't. I need one of you to grow a goddamn backbone. When a parent cries, I understand it. When a television personality cries about the humanity of Ted Cruz, it turns my fucking stomach. The hate that from Mike for those not far enough to the left is not helping the cause, especially when he's literally saying shit is Jimmy is worse than Cruz. Jesus fucking Christ. I think I'm explaining myself pretty clear. I have the same exact opinion as Martin Luther King Jr. in the letter of the Birmingham Jail. I'm sorry you've never heard the idea that white moderates are a bigger problem than the right because they constantly disarm the movements of resistance. I don't know. I mean, like, I can't imagine someone watching my stream and not being familiar with what I'm trying to say here. And by the way, I like a lot of what Jimmy's saying here, but the problem is he stopped himself in the middle to say that Ted Cruz is a human. He's talking to liberal. He's not talking to a single fucking conservative. The audience of Jimmy Kimmel is liberals. And what is he saying to liberals? Not grab your gun, we gotta fight. He's not saying, hey, Ted Cruz, we've got to beat him. Support Beto O'Rourke. Look at the bravery of Beto confronting these frauds. His fucking lesson to liberals is, don't hate Ted Cruz. He's a human. What?
It takes a big person to do something like that. It takes a brave person to do something
They are not big. They are not brave. That they got power, bro. What are you going to do about it? I think a lot of what happens here, and I think I kind of get a little bit what's happening here, is that a lot of people don't like to lose. They'd rather not try than lose. How many of you would rather not try than fail? Be honest. If you would rather not even try than fail, you are emotionally immature. Adulthood, manhood, womanhood, MBhood is learning that failure is fine. Once you're able to realize I'm going to fail a lot and that's okay, then you're going to have the first opportunity in your life to actually achieve a fucking goal. Yeah, we might fight tooth and nail against Ted Cruz and fail. So fucking what? I'd rather try. The ship is sinking. We don't have the time to placate right-wingers. When you're trying to save a drowning victim, you can knock them out if they're dragging you down with them, or else we all die. That is a really good fucking analogy. That is a really good analogy. When somebody's drowning, at a certain point, they become unhinged and the rational brain doesn't work anymore and they're desperate for another breath. And if you go to try to rescue them, if you don't do it the proper way, they can drown you, trying to use you as a prop. Here's a Star Trek relevant scene. All right.
Come in, please.
Commander, I require your presence on the bridge.
Captain, with all due respect, perhaps it would be better if you choose another to serve as your first officer.
Data, you were my first officer.
Is Data considered a citizen? Yes. There's an episode called Measure of a Man where they basically adjudicate Data to be a citizen.
And Commander, it is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life.
Good old TNG. You gotta love it. They'll never make a show like that again.
And do I think these men are brave people? No, I don't. I don't. But man, I would love it if they surprised me. I would love it if any of these guys surprised me. I don't know. This is not a time for moments of silence. This is a time to be loud and to stay loud and not stop until we fix this. Some people say this is a mental health problem. Others say it's a gun problem. It is both, and it can be both.
You fucking worthless liberal. Every other country in the world has mental health issues. They don't have mass shootings. The difference is the guns. Can you stop with the both sides?
To make sure that unless they do something drastic, that let's make sure that not one of any of these politicians ever holds office again.
The first law he signed is
liberal ultimate voting unlocked. Just vote. Liberal ultimate unlocked. Just vote. Vote in the rigged, gerrymandered elections. Vote in the voter suppressed elections. Vote in the electoral college where the Republicans have won multiple times in the last 20 years with the minority of the vote. Vote in the United States Senate where California, with 81 times the population of Wyoming, has the same amount of senators. Yeah, just vote, forehead. Voting. Vote harder. You did it. Just vote. Vote so that you can learn that 6 Democrats, not 2, are opposed to removing the filibuster. Vote harder, knowing that everybody who's looked at the data knows the Democrats will basically never have a trifecta again. And it's physically impossible for them to ever get control of the Senate with a filibuster-proof majority. Let's say, for example, the Democrats shock the world and they get 60 senators in January. Guess what? Joe Manchin votes with the Republicans to uphold the filibuster. 41-59. Whoops! It looks like it's filibustered. Gun control is filibustered. Well, Mike, you actually needed 61 seats. Okay. So we really need 70 seats because some of those Republicans are going to be Joe Manchin conservatives who are going to vote with the Republicans. What kind of fucking pathetic system is this? What would be your solution? Honest question. No leaders actually doing anything beyond thoughts and prayers. People often ask me these questions, and longtime watcher, I think it's worth taking our hawkish weapons distributing foreign policy to a domestic gun problem. There's a link here. Do the MLK thing and tie domestic with war abroad. I think the thing that really bothers me is there is a culture of reverence for institutions. What needs to happen is people need to know the Supreme Court is a political body that's coming to steal your rights against the democratic will of the people. People need to understand that the Electoral College doesn't make sense. They need to understand that our federal government and our Constitution isn't worth the toilet paper it's printed on. They need to start understanding that we need radical reform and change. If the system is going to elect and allow us to do the radical reform and change through the system, great, do that. But outside of that, we need a constitutional convention. We need real representative democracy. We need to abolish the Senate. We need to expand the Supreme Court. We need radical change and people advocating for that. Countries rewrite their constitutions all over the place. States rewrite their constitutions all over the place. The United States federal government is rotten. And states don't make sense. Mitt Romney was the governor of Massachusetts and is now a senator from Utah. Does anyone think somebody gives a fuck about the state they live in? Dr. Oz lived in New Jersey for most of his adult life, and he's running for the senator of Pennsylvania. What is the political significance or social significance of these state borders? Why do they need to be represented as some sort of entity? What's the difference between the culture of North Dakota and South Dakota? Why do they get 4 senators? It is madness. They don't, it makes no fucking sense that North and South Dakota have more power in our government than California does. And yeah, I wish this wasn't the case. I've been advocating and the system, here's the problem, chat, is the system is collapsing. It's like a fire. When the fire is in your waste paper basket, a glass of water will put it out. But if the fire spreads to your curtains, if the fire spreads and engulfs the entire room, now you need a you need a fire hose to put it out. If the fire is engulfing in a forest, you need a different firefighting. You have to escalate the firefighting. We lost 2010. We lost 2014. We lost 2016. That's in the past. When the fire was smaller, that's the past now. The fire is raging out of control. So as it rages faster and bigger and stronger, the response has to be more radical, bigger, or else you're not going to put it out. You can't run to a forest fire and put it out with a glass of water. You might have been able to put it out when it first started with a glass of water, but that's called time is linear. So now we need more radical fucking solutions. We don't have time machines. I'd love to go back in time and elect Bernie Sanders president in 2016. I want to go back in time and elect Bernie Sanders president in 2020. I want to go back in time and convince Ruth Bader Ginsburg to resign or whatever the fuck else. But that's just not the reality of where we are now. So you're telling me, well, Mike, we just need to do the thing you've been doing for a decade? Who do you think? I have 100% voting record. I posted it on my Twitter. If just vote was the solution, I ran for office myself. I've helped multiple people win office. You're talking to someone who couldn't be possibly more involved in politics. It's not possible. Outright of being a fucking politician myself right this moment, there's nothing more I can do. And I spend my days talking to thousands of people trying to convince them to do more all the time. You're asking me what to be done? How about expect something as a bare fucking minimum? Liberals have told me to run for office as if I'm the only one to have come up with any of these ideas. Yeah, exactly. And I guess one of the things that I'm advocating for here is a change in the culture of people on the left. Stop accepting lesser of two evils arguments. Stop accepting we just can't get it done. Oh, Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema. Oh. Stop expecting politicians like that scum to rescue you. When Joe Biden was going to be the nominee, what was I saying at the time? When Bernie Sanders ended his campaign, what did I say? I said this is a disaster. And we've got to get... I called Sam Cedar on Majority Report and I said, I'm close to being Bernie or bust because I'm not seeing Joe Biden make the promises he needs to make to save this country. I called it. I was there at the beginning. Now, I didn't Bernie or bust. I said, you go to beat Trump. But I've been warning you about this for a decade now. I've been running on the left flank of whatever politics was. And the vote blue no matter who strategy is not working. The race was over by the time the Pennsylvania primary happened. What do you think about the Marxists? I think they're revolutionaries saying we need more guns. Well, I mean, I don't think unilaterally disarming is going to work. I don't think that waiting on a magic day where you know everybody just spontaneously gives up their guns is going to work. So if you want to buy a gun now, it makes perfect sense to me. Don't worry, while libs are saying we should compromise. Fox News is going on. What is the right saying? When Jimmy Kimmel is calling for crying his eyes out about how fucking Ted Cruz is a good guy. What are the conservatives saying? Lib media quick to make Uvalde shooting political, so let's turn our attention to two conservative columns pushing a different political agenda in the wake of this massacre. Biden blames gun lobby when his real enemy is culture. We must confront the cultural mess that gave us Uvalde. Cultural mess. What does that mean? You know that single motherhood is up in every country in the world, right? If it's single motherhood, how come there isn't mass shoot? You know what country has a lot of single mothers? The UK. Where's their mass shootings? You fucking losers. You have an obligation to like, comment, and subscribe.